Biker pushes old lady at store, then runs when he sees her badge. In the sleepy town of Oakville, a gang of leather-clad bikers roared down Main Street, their Harleys shattering the afternoon tranquility. Led by the notorious Derek Slade, the Hell's Fury gang had built a reputation for intimidation and chaos. As they pulled up to Hal's grocery, the locals cast wary glances and hurried about their business, hoping to avoid trouble. Inside the store, Eleanor Briggs, a silver-haired woman in her 70s, navigated the aisles with her cart, her weathered hands carefully selecting items for her weekly shopping. Though retired, she still wore her sheriff's badge, a symbol of her unwavering commitment to justice. Derek Slade swaggered through the automatic doors, his gang in tow. They spread out, their menacing presence filling the store. Customers huddled closer together, their conversations reduced to uneasy whispers. As Eleanor reached for a can of soup, one of the bikers, a burly man with a snake tattoo, grew impatient. "Move it, Grandma," he sneered, shoving her cart aside. Eleanor stumbled, catching herself on the shelf. The gang erupted in laughter, relishing their show of dominance. But their laughter ceased abruptly when Eleanor's jacket shifted, revealing the gleaming badge. Derek's eyes widened in recognition, his mind flooded with stories of the legendary Sheriff Briggs and her relentless pursuit of justice. Fear gripped the gang as they realized their grave mistake. Eleanor straightened her jacket, her steely gaze locking with Derek's. In that moment, a silent challenge was issued. The store fell silent, the tension palpable. The once cowed customers watched in anticipation, sensing a shift in power. Derek's mind raced, weighing his options. He knew the stories of Eleanor Briggs all too well, tales of her unwavering courage and her ability to bring even the most hardened criminals to their knees. He also knew that he and his gang were no match for her tenacity and the support of the community. The question remained, would they flee or face the consequences of their actions? News of the incident at Hal's grocery spread like wildfire through Oakville. In coffee shops and on street corners, locals whispered about the confrontation between the infamous Hell's Fury gang and the legendary Sheriff Eleanor Briggs. The town buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension, wondering how the situation would unfold. Eleanor, never one to back down from a challenge, wasted no time in rallying her former colleagues and the community. She made phone calls, drawing on decades-old connections and the respect she'd earned throughout her career. Retired deputies, eager to stand beside their former leader, dusted off their badges and prepared for action. At the same time, the Hell's Fury gang holed up in their clubhouse on the outskirts of town, their bravado replaced by a growing sense of unease. Derek paced the room, his mind churning with the realization that they had underestimated the elderly woman and the town's resolve. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across Oakville, Eleanor called a meeting at the community center. A diverse crowd of townspeople gathered, united by their desire to reclaim their town from the grip of fear. Eleanor took the stage, her presence commanding attention. "For too long, we've allowed ourselves to be intimidated by those who seek to sow chaos and fear," she began, her voice resonating through the room. "But today, we have an opportunity to stand together and show that our community is stronger than any gang." The crowd erupted in applause, their spirits lifted by Eleanor's words. As the meeting progressed, a plan began to take shape, a coordinated effort to not only bring the Hell's Fury gang to justice but also to address the underlying issues that had allowed them to thrive. In that moment, the town of Oakville began to transform. The seeds of change had been planted, and with Eleanor at the helm, they would grow into a powerful force for good. The bikers, once a symbol of fear, would soon learn the true strength of a united community. As dawn broke over Oakville, the town stirred with a newfound sense of purpose. The events of the previous day had galvanized the community, and the streets hummed with anticipation. Eleanor Briggs, energized by the support of her neighbors, set the plan in motion. The first step was to gather intelligence. Eleanor reached out to her network of informants, built over years of service as sheriff. Slowly, pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place: the Hell's Fury gang's hideouts, their smuggling routes, and their ties to larger criminal organizations. Meanwhile, the gang grew increasingly restless. Derek, his confidence shaken by the unexpected turn of events, struggled to maintain control over his men. Whispers of dissent rippled through the ranks as some members began to question their loyalty to a leader who had led them into a dangerous situation. In the heart of Oakville, a transformation was taking place. The community center, once a simple gathering place, became a hub of activity. Volunteers pored over maps and documents, coordinating efforts to gather evidence and plan the next steps. The town's collective spirit, dormant for so long, had been reignited. Eleanor, ever the strategist, recognized that bringing down the gang would require more than just force. She reached out to local businesses and community leaders, forging alliances and pooling resources. Together, they developed programs to provide alternatives for at-risk youth and support for those seeking to leave the gang lifestyle behind. As the sun set on another day, Eleanor stood in front of the community center, looking out over the town she had sworn to protect. The road ahead would be challenging, but she knew that with the strength of the community behind her, anything was possible. In the shadows of the clubhouse, Derek sat alone, his mind churning with the realization that his reign of terror was coming to an end. He faced a choice: flee and abandon his gang, or face the consequences of his actions. The weight of his decisions hung heavy in the air as the town of Oakville prepared for the confrontation to come. The Hell's Fury clubhouse buzzed with tension as the gang gathered for an emergency meeting. Derek, his eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep, paced in front of his men. The once confident leader now struggled to find the right words to address the mounting pressure from the town and the growing unrest within his own ranks. "We've always been in control," Derek declared, his voice strained. "But now, this old lady and her band of do-gooders think they can take us down. We need to show them who really runs this town." Murmurs of agreement mixed with uncertainty filled the room. Some of the younger members, swayed by the promise of a better life, cast furtive glances at the door, wondering if it was time to make a change. Across town, Eleanor and her team worked tirelessly to build their case against the gang. Evidence poured in from all corners of the community: surveillance footage, financial records, and eyewitness accounts. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, painting a damning picture of the Hell's Fury gang's criminal activities. As the pressure mounted, cracks began to appear in the gang's facade. Some members, disillusioned with Derek's leadership, reached out to Eleanor and her team, offering information in exchange for protection and a chance at redemption. Eleanor, ever the wise mentor, welcomed these individuals with open arms. She understood that true change came from within and that every person deserved a chance to make amends. With each new ally, the community's resolve grew stronger. In the midst of the gathering storm, a ray of hope emerged. The town's youth center, once a rundown building on the verge of closure, underwent a remarkable transformation. Volunteers from all walks of life came together to renovate the space, creating a haven for young people to learn, grow, and find a sense of belonging. As Act 1 drew to a close, the stage was set for a showdown between the forces of fear and the power of community. Eleanor and the town of Oakville stood united, ready to face the challenges ahead and fight for a brighter future. The sun rose over Oakville, casting a warm glow on the town's streets. In the early morning light, Eleanor made her way to the community center, her mind buzzing with the day's plans. As she entered the building, she was greeted by a sea of familiar faces: retired deputies, community leaders, and concerned citizens, all united in their determination to take back their town. Eleanor took her place at the front of the room, her presence commanding attention. "Today," she began, her voice steady and resolute, "we take the first steps towards reclaiming our community. We have the evidence, we have the support, and most importantly, we have each other." The room erupted in applause, the energy palpable. As Eleanor laid out the plan, teams were formed and tasks were assigned. Some would continue to gather evidence, while others would reach out to local businesses and organizations, rallying support for the cause. Across town, the Hell's Fury gang was in disarray. Derek, desperate to maintain his grip on power, lashed out at his subordinates, his paranoia growing with each passing hour. The once loyal members began to question their allegiance, the seeds of doubt taking root. As the day progressed, small acts of kindness and resistance began to ripple through Oakville. A group of teenagers, once tempted by the allure of the gang lifestyle, found solace in the newly renovated youth center. Under the guidance of dedicated mentors, they discovered hidden talents and a sense of purpose. Meanwhile, Eleanor and her team made a breakthrough. A former gang member, racked with guilt, came forward with a wealth of information about the Hell's Fury's illicit activities. The evidence was damning, and the net began to close around Derek and his inner circle. As the sun set on Oakville, the town was abuzz with a newfound sense of hope. The community, once fragmented by fear, was coming together, united in their determination to build a better future. The road ahead was long, but with each small victory, the town grew stronger, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the heart of Oakville, the community garden had long been a symbol of the town's resilience. Nestled between the library and the old firehouse, the garden had weathered many storms, both literal and figurative. Now, as the town rallied against the Hell's Fury gang, the garden took on a new significance. Eleanor, always attuned to the needs of her community, saw an opportunity to bring people together. She put out a call for volunteers, inviting everyone to join in a day of planting and renewal. The response was overwhelming, with people from all corners of the town showing up to lend a hand. As the volunteers worked side by side, tilling the soil and planting seeds, something remarkable began to happen. Barriers that had long divided the town started to crumble. Old grudges were set aside, replaced by a shared sense of purpose and camaraderie. Among the volunteers was Maria, a young woman who had once been drawn to the gang lifestyle. As she knelt in the dirt, planting a row of tomato seedlings, she found herself opening up to Eleanor about her struggles and her dreams for the future. Eleanor listened with a compassionate ear, offering words of encouragement and wisdom. She saw in Maria a spark of potential, a young woman with the power to change her life and her community. With a gentle hand, Eleanor guided Maria towards the resources and support she needed to turn her life around. As the day wore on, the garden began to take shape, a vibrant patchwork of colors and textures. The sight of the community coming together, working towards a common goal, was a powerful reminder of the strength that lay within Oakville. Meanwhile, the Hell's Fury gang watched from the shadows, their grip on the town slowly slipping away. Derek, his desperation growing, made a final, reckless play for power. But as the town stood united, his efforts were met with fierce resistance, and the gang's facade began to crack under the pressure of the community's resolve. As the week progressed, Oakville buzzed with a newfound energy. The community garden had become a symbol of hope, a tangible reminder of what could be achieved when people worked together. Inspired by the garden's success, other projects began to spring up across the town. In the town square, a group of local artists came together to create a mural celebrating Oakville's history and resilience. The colorful artwork, which depicted scenes of community, unity, and growth, quickly became a focal point, drawing visitors from far and wide. Eleanor, ever the guiding force, encouraged these initiatives, recognizing the power of art and beauty to heal and inspire. She worked tirelessly to support the artists, securing funding and resources to help bring their vision to life. While the town blossomed, the Hell's Fury gang struggled to maintain their hold. Derek, his authority crumbling, lashed out in increasingly erratic ways. His once loyal followers began to question his leadership, and whispers of mutiny spread through the ranks. Sensing an opportunity, Eleanor reached out to the disaffected gang members, offering them a chance at redemption. She understood that many of them had been drawn to the gang out of desperation and a lack of alternatives. With the help of the community, she created programs to provide job training, education, and support for those seeking to leave the gang lifestyle behind. Slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. Gang members, drawn by the promise of a better life, began to defect, providing valuable information and support to Eleanor and her team. The community, once gripped by fear, now stood united against the dwindling gang. As Oakville continued to transform, the power of small acts of kindness and daily choices became increasingly clear. Each person, from the youngest child to the oldest resident, had a role to play in shaping the town's future. And with each passing day, the seeds of hope and transformation, planted in the community garden, grew stronger and more vibrant. Oakville's transformation was not without its challenges. As the Hell's Fury gang's power waned, Derek grew more desperate and unpredictable. In a last-ditch effort to reassert his dominance, he staged a daring robbery at the town's only bank, hoping to secure enough funds to flee the town and start anew. The robbery sent shockwaves through the community, threatening to unravel the progress that had been made. But Eleanor, ever the pillar of strength, refused to let fear take hold. She rallied the town, urging them to stand together in the face of adversity. As the police and the community worked tirelessly to track down Derek and his remaining accomplices, Eleanor turned her attention to the bank's employees and customers. Many had been left traumatized by the ordeal, their sense of safety shattered. Eleanor, drawing on her years of experience as a sheriff and her deep understanding of the human psyche, offered comfort and support to those affected. She organized counseling sessions and support groups, creating a safe space for people to process their emotions and begin the healing process. In the midst of the chaos, a young bank teller named Jack emerged as an unlikely hero. Though shaken by the robbery, he had managed to stay calm and collected, his quick thinking helping to minimize the harm done. Eleanor took Jack under her wing, recognizing in him a kindred spirit and a potential leader. As the days passed and the hunt for Derek continued, the town's resolve only grew stronger. The community banded together, offering support and resources to the police and to one another. Slowly but surely, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. In the end, it was a tip from one of Derek's former associates that led to his capture. As he was led away in handcuffs, the town breathed a collective sigh of relief. Though the road to recovery would be long, Oakville had proven that it was stronger than any gang or any adversity. In the aftermath of Derek's capture, Oakville began the process of healing and rebuilding. The town had been through a crisis, but it had also discovered a strength and unity that many had never known before. As the dust settled, Eleanor and the community leaders set about the task of ensuring that the positive changes that had taken place would be lasting and sustainable. One of the first orders of business was to address the root causes that had allowed the Hell's Fury gang to gain a foothold in the first place. Eleanor, in collaboration with local officials and community organizations, spearheaded initiatives to provide more opportunities and support for at-risk youth. The youth center, which had played such a crucial role in the town's transformation, became a focal point of these efforts. New programs were introduced, offering everything from job skills training to mentoring and counseling services. The center became a beacon of hope, a place where young people could find guidance, support, and a sense of belonging. As the weeks passed, Oakville continued to thrive. The community garden, now a cherished symbol of the town's resilience, was expanded, with new plots added to accommodate the growing number of enthusiastic gardeners. The mural in the town square, once a blank wall, was now a vibrant celebration of Oakville's spirit, a daily reminder of the power of unity and hope. Eleanor, though proud of all that had been accomplished, knew that the work was far from over. She continued to lead by example, offering guidance and support to all who needed it. She also began to think about the future, knowing that one day she would need to pass the torch to a new generation of leaders. As she contemplated this transition, her thoughts turned to Jack, the young bank teller who had shown such courage and leadership during the robbery. She saw in him the potential to carry on her legacy, to guide Oakville into a bright and prosperous future. Eleanor approached Jack, inviting him to take on a more active role in shaping the town's future. At first, Jack was hesitant, unsure if he was ready for such a responsibility. But Eleanor's unwavering faith in him and her gentle guidance helped him to see his own potential. Under Eleanor's mentorship, Jack began to take on more leadership roles within the community. He worked closely with the youth center, drawing on his own experiences to connect with and inspire the young people of Oakville. His natural charisma and compassion made him a beloved figure, and his influence began to grow. As Jack's confidence and skills developed, Eleanor started to step back, allowing him to take the lead on key projects and initiatives. She watched with pride as he navigated challenges and forged new partnerships, always keeping the best interests of the community at heart. Meanwhile, the town continued to flourish. New businesses opened, drawn by the newfound sense of vitality and purpose that permeated Oakville. The once struggling Main Street was now a vibrant hub of activity, with shops, restaurants, and community spaces that brought people together. As the months passed, Eleanor knew that the time had come for her to pass the torch. In a heartfelt ceremony attended by the entire town, she officially handed over her leadership role to Jack. There were tears of joy and gratitude as the community celebrated all that Eleanor had done for them and welcomed Jack as their new leader. Though she was stepping back from her formal role, Eleanor knew that her work was not finished. She would continue to be a guiding light for Oakville, a source of wisdom and inspiration for all who knew her. And as she looked out over the town that had become her heart and soul, she knew that Oakville's brightest days were still ahead. As Jack settled into his new role as the leader of Oakville, he knew that he had big shoes to fill. Eleanor had been a guiding force for the town, a beacon of strength and compassion that had seen them through their darkest times. But with her support and the support of the entire community, Jack was determined to build on the foundation she had laid. One of Jack's first priorities was to address the lingering effects of the Hell's Fury gang's reign of terror. Though the gang had been dismantled and its leaders brought to justice, the scars of their actions remained. Many in the town still struggled with the trauma of those days, and Jack knew that true healing would take time and care. To this end, he worked with mental health professionals and community leaders to establish a comprehensive support system for those in need. Counseling services, support groups, and educational programs were made available to all, ensuring that no one would have to face their struggles alone. As the town continued to heal, Jack also turned his attention to the future. He recognized that Oakville's strength lay in its sense of community and its commitment to growth and progress. He encouraged new ideas and initiatives, fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration. Under Jack's leadership, Oakville became a model for other communities facing similar challenges. Leaders from nearby towns and cities began to visit, eager to learn from Oakville's success and to forge partnerships for the future. Through it all, Eleanor remained a constant presence, a source of guidance and support for Jack and for the entire town. Though she had stepped back from the spotlight, her influence could be felt in every corner of Oakville, from the thriving community garden to the bustling youth center. As the town prepared to celebrate the anniversary of their triumph over the Hell's Fury gang, Jack knew that it was a time for reflection and for looking forward. The challenges they had faced had only made them stronger, and he knew that together, they could face anything the future might bring. The anniversary celebration was a joyous occasion, a testament to the resilience and spirit of the town of Oakville. People from all walks of life came together to honor the journey they had taken and to reaffirm their commitment to building a brighter future. As Jack stood before the gathered crowd, he was filled with a sense of pride and humility. He spoke of the challenges they had faced, of the courage and compassion that had seen them through. He paid tribute to Eleanor, to the law enforcement officers who had worked tirelessly to bring the gang to justice, and to every member of the community who had played a role in Oakville's transformation. But even as they celebrated their victories, Jack knew that the work was not finished. He spoke of the need for continued vigilance, for a commitment to justice and equality that extended beyond the borders of their town. He challenged the people of Oakville to be a light in the world, to lead by example and to never stop striving for a better tomorrow. As the festivities continued into the night, Eleanor watched from the sidelines, her heart full of pride and love for the town she had called home for so many years. She knew that Oakville was in good hands with Jack at the helm, and she was content in the knowledge that her legacy would live on through the lives she had touched. In the days and weeks that followed, Oakville continued to thrive. New initiatives were launched, partnerships were forged, and the sense of community that had been forged in the crucible of adversity grew stronger with each passing day. And though challenges would come, as they always did, the people of Oakville knew that they had the strength and the resilience to overcome them. They had learned the power of unity, of hope, and of the indomitable human spirit. And with that knowledge, they knew that there was nothing they could not achieve, no obstacle they could not surmount, as long as they stood together. As the years passed, Oakville became a shining example of what a community could achieve when it was united in purpose and vision. The town's transformation was not just physical, though the thriving businesses and vibrant public spaces were certainly a testament to its success. It was a transformation of the heart, a fundamental shift in the way people saw themselves and their role in the world. Under Jack's leadership, Oakville became a hub of innovation and social progress. The youth center, once a humble gathering place, had grown into a world-class institution, offering programs and resources that empowered young people to become leaders in their own right. The community garden, now a sprawling oasis of green in the heart of the town, had become a model for sustainable agriculture and community building. But perhaps the most profound change was in the way the people of Oakville related to one another. The divisions and prejudices that had once seemed so entrenched had given way to a deep sense of connection and shared purpose. People of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life came together to learn from one another, to support one another, and to build a better world. As Eleanor watched this transformation unfold, she knew that her life's work had been more than worthwhile. She had always believed in the power of community, in the idea that by working together, people could achieve things that would be impossible alone. And now, seeing the fruits of that belief in the lives of so many, she felt a sense of peace and fulfillment that she had never known before. In her final days, surrounded by the love and gratitude of the town she had served so faithfully, Eleanor reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. She knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, that there would be new challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that Oakville had the strength, the compassion, and the vision to meet those challenges head-on, to continue to grow and thrive in the face of whatever the future might bring. Years turned into decades, and the legacy of Eleanor Briggs and the transformation of Oakville became the stuff of legend. The story was told and retold, passed down from generation to generation as a testament to the power of community, resilience, and hope. Jack, now an elder statesman himself, continued to guide the town with the same compassion and vision that had defined his leadership from the start. Under his stewardship, Oakville had become a beacon of light, a model for communities around the world seeking to build a better future. But even as he took pride in all that had been accomplished, Jack knew that the true strength of Oakville lay not in any one person, but in the spirit of unity and purpose that had been forged in the crucible of their shared struggle. As he looked out over the town that had become his life's work, Jack saw a community that was thriving in every sense of the word. The seeds that had been planted so many years ago, in the dark days of the Hell's Fury Gang's reign of terror, had taken root and blossomed into something beautiful and enduring. In the community garden, now a lush and verdant wonderland, he saw a symbol of the town's resilience and growth. In the faces of the young people who flocked to the youth center, eager to learn and to lead, he saw the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And in the hearts of every man, woman, and child who called Oakville home, he saw the unbreakable bonds of love and compassion that had seen them through their darkest hours. As the sun set on another day in this remarkable town, Jack knew that the story of Oakville was far from over. There would be new challenges to face, new obstacles to overcome. But he also knew that as long as the spirit of community and hope burned bright, there was nothing they could not achieve. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and a vision full of promise, Jack looked to the future, ready to lead Oakville forward into a new dawn.